Hello there, and as usual, I'm Aaron from Let's Stay Gamers, and welcome. So today we're taking a look at another beautiful ship from the Steam Workshop, and in the last video, many of you guys requested that we took a look at a ship that could be built by a singular person in a survival situation rather quickly. And in this case, we've got the Alcazar light cruiser by PizDeck.exe. It's everything you need in a compact package, and it isn't super resource heavy, so a player could build himself this large ship from scratch and get himself up into space and cause some serious damage to other players. So first off, let's start on the exterior, and as we come around to this front here, you can see this beautiful curved housing that actually covers the spotlight. You've got the camera in the center so you can aim your weapons, but just look how he's added them combination of colors, the black and red, just creating an extra level of detail that I really love. And to make it a little bit more competitive against other players, we have 4 rocket turrets. We've got 2 either side and 2 at the bottom, and that'll make a very nice pattern of damage on an enemy ship. So as we roll around into this area, you can see he's created some cut down fences, and he's also actually left some full fences in here to add a bit of protection. But in this area, they look like a really cool detailed radar array or some sort of signal device coming off the front of the ship. Just another thing you can do to make it a little bit more detailed. You can see how he's ridged the armor, he's used the colors, as I'm always talking about, to contrast. If you need some heavy contrast on a ship or a build, use different colors, use the contrasting colors and stagger them from each other, and you'll easily create the effect you need. So as we go a little bit lower, you'll notice that the ship actually separates into 2 areas here, and the problem with building a smaller ship is always finding areas to stuff your thrusters so you still have great performance. And you can see he's just tucked these guys in here, and these thrusters are also going to work as a secret little bit of protection for the cockpit that's really nicely tucked away in here. We'll go inside, but something to note about that cockpit is he's stuck a turret behind there, so if anyone tries to come aboard and do some sneaky assassinations, that turret is going to clean them up very quickly. It also stops people tampering with the cockpit while you're not on the server. So moving back into this area, you can see he's used some stairs, and this is where the armor gets really sort of unusual and intricate in the detail. So you can see how this area actually separates out, creates that really nice thruster housing. You can see how he's reversed the blocks around, and he's also used them armor blocks. Just a lot of detail going on in one section. You can see how that wraps down below into the connector section, as well as the oxygen bay to the rear. And what you'll notice throughout this design is there's lots of small turrets, and the reason for this is that space engineers do tend to be able to get quite close to these larger ships, so as they're rooting around looking for a way in, these smaller turrets can take them out and, well, just save your ship a whole lot of damage, really. So coming back to the front, you can see we've got that large missile turret there. We've got one on the top as well, just to inflict a little bit of damage as you're doing a little bit of a drive-by, or if you kind of caught off guard and can't use your front missiles. So as the ship actually wraps into the rear area, this is one of my favorite sections of the ship. So you can see we're actually following quite a standard rectangle type ship design with a thinner nose. But just look at this really cool housing. So we've got the spaced armor there to absorb a little bit of damage to this rear engine bay, and look how the thrusters have been inserted along in this section. So we've got the armor blocks and we've got the thrusters in the various sections, and they're just spaced out in the detail, and it just creates a lot of depth with all them shadows going on there. So as we come to the rear, you're probably wondering what sort of power pack does this ship have. So we've got the large iron thrusters, and then we have the large hydrogen thruster at the back, and that's going to give us some really great performance. I can't wait to see how this thing handles when we pop in the actual cockpit. I'm expecting great things. So let's actually move in through the side doors. So we've got this very basic, simple little entrance, and what I like about this is if we actually spawn our character in here, you can see we don't have to hover up to the door like a lot of designs. We actually have a walkway on the side here, so you can come out your door and see what's going on. So if we pop in through the airlock, we'll pop the door behind us, we open up there, we're actually in the ship, and since this ship is quite small, you'll notice he has a very small layout. So at the back here, we've got the assemblers, the printers, the various different devices, and you've got the pipework that's going up above, as well as a nice little catwalk. He's really done as much as he could with the space that he was given by this small design. So he's on the wall there, he's got some information of all the resources that are on board, and you've got a little catwalk up here as well. So there is an area for you to explore, and something with these smaller ships that's great is if they're not super complicated, they're very fast to get in and out of. That's great for when you're working on other projects. So on the right here in the bridge, we've got ourselves a little damage system array, see how our ship's doing, as well as the cockpit itself there. And if we come up into this section, you'll notice we walk through that glass corridor that we saw on the outside that I think is really nice to have. It's nice to have these little areas to explore. We've got another Gatling turret, well, another little turret inside to protect the med bay. So he's really thought about the defense and his systems. He's got himself a little pod there, so when he's going offline, and he's just basically got all the systems he needs in a very, very compact package that is extremely useful. So I feel like we should have closed that door behind us. I kind of feel wrong. So Down here we actually have the interior lights, so we can turn them on and off. Useful if we're going on a bit of a stealth mission. And we can also turn off the backlight, so there's layers of lighting basically going on. And over here we've got the batteries, so we can turn the batteries on and off, and we can turn the reactors on and off as well. So it's just a very basic sort of interaction system. That's nice because it just gives a little bit extra you can play with. But just look at some of the detail and it's stuck in here. So obviously that's not plugged into anything at the current moment in time, but it just looks nice. It looks right. It feels like the correct layout for a ship of this size. So let's pop into the cockpit and let's see what we got. So you can see in front of us we have the stopping distance. That's very useful for when it comes into docking. And we also have the acceleration. And what I really do like about this is when the thrusters slow you down, it lights up this whole area. So let's actually grab control and we'll see what we've got. So you can see we've got a very good maneuverable package, and that's what I really like from a smaller ship. Since it's smaller, you want to be able to weave your way away from missiles, other projectiles that are being sent at you. Look at that acceleration. That is great for a vanilla ship. Let's check our de-acceleration. Slow ourselves down. So it's a little bit slower, but you can see how much distance we need to stop with that stopping distance. So that's great if you're going into a battle zone. You don't just fly past the enemy ship or ram into them, because you can see how your de-acceleration's going. Very, very nice indeed. If you want to check this out, there'll be a link to it in the description below, and I will see you next time. I'd love to see what sort of ships you'd like to see in next week's Spotlight.